Joe, I want to start with this here, my man. So
Yes.
You obviously have the pod now. You were a fixture on New York radio here on the Fan for 20-plus, 25 years just about. You've seen a ton of unlikely stories. I know this is only a starting point for the Giants, okay? And really you could say that their two previous Super Bowls were highly unlikely as well. But based on where this franchise has been for a little more than a decade or so in the tank, coaches, quarterbacks, talk, everything that seemed wrong, how surprised are you? Like, where's this rank for you, what the Giants have done so far this year?
Well, you know what? What I'm surprised about is not so much that they, wound up being a playoff team this year, but I'm surprised how much better they have gotten. I mean, they have gone from being a nice story. It's great they made the playoffs, 9-7-1. Brian Dable, Coach of the Year. Daniel Jones has turned into a franchise quarterback and all that. They have now become a real factor in the NFC. I mean, they are playing their best football right now. There's no question about it. What they did yesterday to Minnesota, let's be real, they dominated them offensively.
Yeah.
Minnesota had no answers for them whatsoever defensively, not at all. Jones did whatever he wanted to do in this game. I think the Giants have now gone from being a nice story, great, they made the playoffs, to now being a team that I think can make a serious run here in the NFC.
Yeah, no, and it's crazy because they play the Eagles, who destroyed them in one game, the one they played at home. The second game, they didn't play anybody, yet they frustrated the Eagles. And so you almost feel, even though the Giants are going to be big dogs, I think they're already 8.5.
I saw 7.5.
7.5, whatever it is. They're big dogs on the road. You can't believe that the Giants have no chance, because the only game that they got manhandled was Philly early, which we all know what happened. They made a bunch of mistakes. And Detroit, who kind of does that to almost anybody on any given day, but then they'll not show up on another day. This team feels like they have a chance no matter who they're playing, even if on paper they're outmatched.
Well, I think the only team I'd really be that I really would not feel good that they could win the game is San Francisco.
Yes.
I think the Niners are the best team in the NFL. I mean, this kid Purdy, it's been unbelievable. Maybe the bloom's going to come off his rose, but they're so loaded. It's really unbelievable. But anybody else, I mean, why not? Why can't they beat the Eagles? I don't care if Jalen Hurts is playing or not. and now the Giants come into this game with tremendous confidence. And I'm telling you right now, Brian Dable has transformed Daniel Jones into Josh Allen. I mean, really, let's be real about this. You watched these games yesterday. He played better. The Bills were lucky to win. If Mike McDaniel, I thought Mike McDaniel had a terrible game yesterday coaching for the Dolphins.
Especially the fourth quarter.
Oh, my God.
He couldn't get a play in.
Couldn't get a play in, and at 24-20 on a 3rd and 18 on his own 10-yard line, instead of just running the ball and punting, you got a 4-point lead. He's got Skylar Thompson throwing a 25-yard out that gets intercepted and turns the game around. No, Miami should have won the game. That being aside, this guy, he's Josh Allen now.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no doubt about him. He can run the ball. He's a big physical guy. He can throw the ball. And the idea to have no offensive weapons is nonsense. This Isaiah Hodgins is turning into a number one receiver. Slayton had that unfortunate drop yesterday, but overall, he's played well. Bellinger, obviously Saquon. And something else, Teak and B? This offensive line doesn't get a lot of credit. They're pretty good.
And they've gotten a lot better, no question
Andrew
about it.
Thomas is an all-pro. He was second-team all-pro. He's one of the best left tackles in football. I thought they had an outstanding game yesterday.
And even Feliciano, who was center on Saquon's touchdown, they pulled the left tackle and the center both to the left, which is odd, but it works because you get a block down and then everybody's going around. Feliciano adjusted perfectly, came up on the safety and just mashed him. And Saquon maneuvered his way and goes, for the long touchdown run. They have grown, and I've said this last couple of weeks. They started out a certain place. We could say it, and I said it many times. This team isn't very good. They just know how to play winning football. Their team's not very good. They just know how to play winning football. Well, guess what? Now they're good.
Yep.
They've gotten better individually. and collectively over the course of the season. So at this point, if you're a Giants fan, why the hell not?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no. Hey, look, and Wink Martindale. I mean, to me, his game plan yesterday, he took Justin Jefferson completely out of the game. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of that had to do with Adoree Jackson, but I think a lot of it also had to do with the fact that he was doing a little Belichick act, playing seven defensive backs for a good part of this game. So I thought the coaching yesterday, and Kevin O'Connell had a terrible game. I mean, how about the 3rd and 1 play? Okay, he's got a 3rd and 1. I think it was 14-7 at that point. 3rd and 1. Just try a quarterback sneak with Cousins. Give the ball to Dalvin Cook. No, we got to get cute and have a reverse with Justin Jefferson throwing the ball back to the quarterback, and that certainly didn't work out.
Yeah, because they thought they were going to get man coverage, and that's where Wink out-chessed them.
Yes.
Because he came out and he played cover 2, and they had no idea what to do.
Joe, do you? I know you don't root. You're not sitting there wearing a Strahan jersey or a Barber. Do you want the Giants to win? How do you process this whole thing?
I don't think I'd be too happy about them getting to the Super Bowl. To be honest with you, I mean, as a Jet fan, I don't know if I'd be happy about that. I'll be honest about it.
Mm-hmm.
But look, I mean,
why? Joe?
You know why?
Because coming into this season, everybody was saying
it just adds to our emptiness, Tiki.
That's not even that.
Yeah, it is.
It does. That is true. But I think it felt like the Jets were a step ahead of the Giants. Right, both teams kind of going through a reset. Whatever I don't know. I hate rebuild. It's overused because the Giants certainly did not rebuild, not as quickly. But the Jets were ahead of the Giants. Now all of a sudden the Giants are a game away from being in the championship. Right.
I think what we lost coming into the season, and I'm just forget about how I feel overall. Look, I mean, we're second fiddle to the Giants, and it's exacerbated by the fact that we play in their stadium. I mean, I don't care what they call it. You could call it MetLife. You call it whatever you want. You can make it as green as you want on game day. Put the Ring of Honor up and all that nonsense.
It's still Giant Stadium.
Of course.
Wait a sec. No, hold on a sec, Joe.
Of course it is.
Hold on. It's funny you say that. Yeah, so to Joe B, of course.
There's no question about it.
Hold on a sec, though, Joe. You've said that a couple times this year, and I've left it unchecked. It's not Giant. They share the stadium, Joe.
I know, but
why do you keep
we
saying
don't have
that?
our own state because we're
But
playing
neither
in
do
their
they.
place.
Neither do they.
But it's location familiarity.
It doesn't matter. It
doesn't matter.
And listen, MetLife.
It hurts. They have no identity.
I know that,
Come
Joe.
on.
But MetLife sucks. I'm not here to debate that. I'm not here to debate that.
And the other place was a great stadium.
I had no problem with it. But when you say it's the Giants, it's not the Giants. You got to stop saying that, Joe. It's not their stadium.
Okay.
They're co-tenants.
Great.
They are.
I'm sorry. They went to the Giants location. They couldn't wait to run there because Leon Hess didn't like the unclean bathrooms at Shea Stadium, okay? I mean, let's be honest. One of the big problems with this franchise is that.
Yeah.
And I've said that for over and over.
Yeah.
What they need. I could only pray that Steve Cohen would get involved with this franchise and go build a stadium, even though it's more convenient for me to where I live.
Yeah, I like that
build
too.
a stadium next to Citi Field in Queens.
Here's what justifies it says you're right. The Giants have Quest, whatever it is,
Diagnostic Center.
Right next to
Center.
Right.
It's a block away.
Yeah.
Right.
The Jets are in Florham Park.
And the Jets is nicer.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
No,
it doesn't matter what's nicer.
They are 25 miles away.
Yeah, whatever. They're co-tenants.
Don't you want to, BT, don't you want to see a stadium that's call it whatever you want. Leon Hess Stadium, Johnson and Johnson Stadium.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
How about Joe B Stadium?
No. Would a Joe Namath statue outside? How about that?
No, Joe.
How about we have something
that.
like that?
I would love.
Of course you would.
Of course I would.
And by the way, let me say this too. Nothing but Jet fans in there.
I understand that, but when we say it's their stadium, I got at least call on that a little bit.
Well, you
but whatever.
can call me on that, but
it's
that's
all
how
good,
I
Joe.
feel.
I got you. Now let me ask you this. I don't know if you think this, like I think this. So I'm watching all the games this weekend.
Yep.
And I'm seeing Trevor Lawrence come out and he's throwing 3 picks in the first quarter, but there's still, to me,
a couple of them weren't really his fault.
True, but the numbers were awful. And he was right.
Terrible.
Okay.
Right.
And he's got Peterson to get him off the rails. And then you watch, obviously, Purdy with the Niners, and he's got Shanahan. You watch Jones, and he's got Dable. And then you watch our team, and you watch a quarterback who's lost and a head coach who can't tell him a thing about offense. And that is so worrisome.
It's worrisome. I mean, I can't look. I mean, I can't. Right now, you ask me about our coach, I say he's not the guy. Now, I think he gets another year because we've talked about it. I mean, you're not. I don't want to get. I don't need another coordinator, untested guy coming in here. Let me see. One thing I will say I'll say this for Saleh. He's continued to talk about the 49ers. That's where he was, and he always talked about year 3. If you look at the 49ers under Shanahan, the second year they went 4-12, and they really had no quarterback either. I mean, they had a trade for Jimmy Garoppolo, and then year 3 under Shanahan, they were in the Super Bowl. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now it's 6 years into it, and I think they're the premier team in the league right now, even with Brock Purdy as the quarterback. So, I'm willing to see what happens this year. If they don't make the playoffs next year, they're gone. Everybody's gone.
I agree with that. Joe, when you say everybody, you mean Joe Douglas too?
No, I wouldn't get rid of Douglas.
Yeah, that's a little different.
No, Douglas, I know he whiffed on the quarterback.
I don't know, man. You whiff on.
Yeah, but that, you know what, though, Teak? You got to remember, my franchise has had some of the worst draft choices over the years you could ever have. First-round picks, or second round. This draft that we just had with Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson.
This is true.
This is a real draft.
It's an elite draft.
A franchise-making draft.
It's a franchise-altering draft. I do agree with that.
Yep.
Except unless you get the quarterback wrong.
Well, they got to look. I mean, to me, I want to see them. I want to see them get
this
Derek
guy.
Carr.
This is what we're subject. This guy needling us as he sits back with that $1 million
smile.
He's
a giant. I mean,
because the Giants get ready for the Eagles.
He's an all-time giant, and he shouldn't.
And we got the right coach.
Yeah. And by the way, Joe, you do. And Joe, he's thinking about going down to Philly for the game, and he's going to sit in the suite if he can swing this with Eagle fans. You believe that?
Now, come on.
No, he is. That's what he said, Joe.
Tiki, you should be sitting with the people. You should be sitting next to the guy with the LT jersey and the guy with the Tiki Barber jersey.
Yeah,
on,
right. Until I get accosted nonstop.
What do you mean accosted nonstop?
How do you sit there with Eagle fans and watch? What are you kidding? He's right. Joe's right.
You're going to sit there with Jeff Lurie up there in the skybox?
Donovan McNabb's going to hang out with him.
I'm a big fan of Jeff Lurie, actually, personally.
Okay, well, he might be a great guy, but come on.
I used to get my family a suite so they didn't have to sit in the stadium with the Eagles.
Is that true?
Yeah, because they were bad.
So they didn't get accosted in the street. Absolutely.
Can I say one thing?
Joe, you remember the old the
vet? Oh, God.
They would put the traveling teams people like Oh,
they wouldn't put them up high?
They would put them up high. They were on the field. They were down in these crappy seats right there on the field. This is the old vet. And it was bad.
Is this before they built the jail cell in the Veterans Stadium?
They'd get pelted.
Yeah,
it was.
They also had
the
worst turf in the history of mankind.
It smelled like urine that place. Horrendous.
I stopped letting my family go to those games.
Yeah. But listen, he's circumventing the point here, Joe. I mean, that's one thing when you play.
You shouldn't be sitting with the Eagle hierarchy.
I'm not sitting with Eagle hierarchy.
I mean, and the Giant fans will be a little upset. I think I'd be a little upset with that.
I agree with that, Joe.
I got to see one of my all-time, the greatest running back I've ever had. Okay, in all due respect to like Saquon and Frank
he's
Gifford
the greatest.
and Rodney Hampton.
He's the greatest.
And, O.J. Anderson.
He's the greatest.
All of them. I mean, we could Joe Morris. I mean, we don't want to bring them all up. Ron Johnson.
Yeah, Ron Johnson. Greatest.
All right,
Ron
you're
was
the best. You're the best. I would be a little upset if I'm the Jets are playing a playoff game. I don't care where it is, Kansas City, Buffalo, or something, and I look up and there's Joe Klecko sitting with the Bill people
with Thurman Thomas.
Right. And Bruce Smith.
Who's the team that the Jets violently?
Makes no sense.
Who's the team that the Jets violently?
The Patriots and the Dolphins. Those are our two biggest rivals.
You violently hate them.
The Patriots and the Dolphins.
That violently hate you.
What do you mean?
Nobody hates us because we're not a threat to
anybody.
anybody.
The Patriots hate us. No, Belichick can't stand us.
Violently hate you?
Yeah.
Probably the Patriots. That's maybe the only one.
And I'm going to tell you yesterday, I'm going to say the Miami-Buffalo game, okay?
Yeah.
I was rooting hard for the Dolphins. Boy, did I want – and they should have won the game. Oh, yeah.
Why?
I'll tell you why. Because I want Buffalo out, and I know there's no way Miami is going to beat Kansas City. So they're going to be out. And I wanted to see them – and the Bills, let me tell you something. They were so lucky yesterday. It's unbelievable. I mean, if Mike McDaniel had any kind of game coaching, they would have won this game.
Yeah, he was
he looked
overwhelmed. He looked overwhelmed for the first time all year.
Please, and I don't want to hear the Dolphins. The Dolphin fans, they kill me. Every year they win in the Super Bowl. Mike McDaniel, I love this guy. But you think it was Don Shula walked in the door.
Joe, did you notice him taking a few pulls of the vape? Did you notice that?
No, I did not.
McDaniel was hammering a vape.
Come on.
Yes.
Really?
That's what they're speculating.
No, there's no speculation. We saw it.
Is it legal in Buffalo? Can you just go into it like
Joe,
you can in Jersey?
Well, it could have been a cigarette. I'm not saying it was weed.
Oh, no, I don't know. Okay.
But it was vape. So he was
maybe that was the problem. Maybe that's why he had Skylar Thompson throw a pass on 3rd and 18 up 4 on his own 10-yard line.
I don't know.
Maybe that's why.
It's crazy.
Maybe that's why he couldn't get a play in.
That's like Benigno on the old remotes banging in. He was banging in something during commercial breaks, right?
I don't know about commercial breaks, but on the golf course, it's certainly a possibility. We know that
things get interesting on the golf course. We know that. Trust me, I understand it. I hear you.
I know
buddy.
you do.
I got you, dude. All right, Joe. Let's get rolling. So you're on the record. You hope the Giants lose, is what you said.
No, I'll say I just don't want to see them get to the Super Bowl. I wouldn't mind seeing them beat the Eagles. In fact, I probably would take them with 7.5. I think I would bet them.
Okay.
Yeah. But I don't think they're beating the Niners. Now, look, if somehow the Niners get tripped up, if Dallas or Tampa somehow beats them, I give the Giants a real shot in that game.
So do I.
A real shot.
Joe, good stuff, buddy. Have a great week.
All the love, guys.
Appreciate you, Joe.
See you.
There he
you
is,
got
the
it,
best.
man.
Joe B in the house.